Hello everyone, welcome back to Stylist Studio Dolls. I'm glad you stopped in. This video is called DIY 2 last-minute Halloween costumes. So I'm going to be showing you how to make both of these costumes, a little ghost dress and this little pumpkin costume, and neither of these require any sewing or any special skills or equipment. First of all, the supplies you'll need. You'll need fleece or felt that are at least 24 by 24 inches, an additional color of fleece or felt. You can use adhesive felt or you can use glue with just regular fleece or felt. You'll need ribbon, scissors that can cut fabric, a pencil or something else to mark your fabric, and or pins. You'll need elastic if you want to make the pumpkin, and it's not necessarily a requirement, but I think having some string or yarn handy is helpful. Okay, here we go. For step 1, you're going to want to mark the middle of your fabric and then create a 24-inch circle by measuring 12 inches from that center mark all the way around. You'll notice that there is a seam in the middle of my fabric. I decided to do this project about a week before Halloween, and so when I went to buy orange fleece or felt, there was none to be had. I looked at 2 different stores and it was just too close to Halloween and I missed my chance. So this is the fleece that I had on hand, which is sort of a really light orange, and I think it'll work, but it wasn't wide enough. So I sewed 2 pieces together. That's the only reason mine has a seam, but it won't matter either way, whether or not it does. But as you can see, I'm marking from the center point, which I drew right on the fabric because that's going to get cut out, and I made marks in a circle all the way around. After that's done, step 2 is to cut out the circle. So what I did is I cut right inside that line so that you wouldn't see it on the fabric. And then step 3 is to use the same center mark and measure 2 inches all around to make a smaller circle. Step 4 is to cut out the smaller circle. And step 5 is to measure 4 inches from the circle outward to both the left and the right. My pins here are marking that 4-inch spot, and because I had that seam, I'm just gonna open up that seam with a seam ripper, but you can just cut it. That's the next step. Cut a slit on each side to that 4-inch mark. Just make sure it goes right through the middle of the circle and it goes 4 inches from the small circle outward. Next up, step 7 is evenly measure for 8 small slits across the front and the back from the left side slit to the right side slit. Now this is going to be the most confusing part of the whole tutorial, so stay with me. The slits should radiate from the center circle like sun rays. So see my pins? The part where the fabric is over the pin is where your slit's going to be. These are slits for the ribbon that's around the neck. So it's like little long holes for the ribbon, okay? Mine are about 3 inches long and they begin 1/2 inch from the circle. Mine are roughly 1 inch apart. The important thing is that you have 8 between the left slit and the right slit in both the front and the back. So you need 16 slits. Make sure that you measure, make sure that you get them evenly spaced across, and then you can cut them. The way I cut them is to pinch it on the pin, like you see me doing, and then use the scissors to slit from the edge to the pin. And then you'll end up with a little slit. You could also use an X-Acto knife, but I didn't have a sharp blade. So I used scissors and this worked really well. Just make sure to measure, make sure you have 8 slits. I'll talk a little bit more about why that's so important later on. For step 9, make small cuts around the bottom for the elastic. So this is the same type of thing, just little slits, but these can be even smaller. This is for the elastic that's going to go around the bottom of the costume, so it's the outside of the circle. Mine are a 1/2 inch from the edge and they're 1 inch apart. Please keep in mind, this does not have to be exact. No one's ever going to see these holes. They're going to be tucked underneath the costume. I'm just a little OCD, and so I had to measure it. But it's absolutely unnecessary. My initial plan was to just wing it, but I just couldn't. You don't have to do this step if you're making the ghost dress, because it doesn't have elastic around the bottom. For step 10, decide where to place the face. So the way that I decided this is that I used my string, the string that I said was handy to have at the beginning, and I wove it where the ribbon's going to go around the neck, and I wove it around the bottom. You can see it hanging out where the elastic's going to go. And then I drew them up to get a good idea what the costume's going to look like. Then I placed the face and put that pin in the middle so that I would remember where I wanted it. This way, after I decided, I could take it off her, I could pull that string out so that it will lay flat again, and then I could easily attach the face. With this one, I glued on the face. You could also use the adhesive fleece. So, this is a side note. Now is the time to cut more fabric if you want to make more costumes like this. Lay the first one on new fabric and use it as a template. This way you won't have to measure anything this time. So, as I was trying on the pumpkin costume, I realized that if I didn't put elastic around the bottom, it would make a really cute dress. And that was when I decided to make the ghost costume. So I didn't have any white fleece. What I did have was a receiving blanket from when my kids were little. And so I decided to use that. It's sort of a extra thin fleece, sort of like a pressed polyester. And so it doesn't fray. So it works the same way as fleece. And I think it's kind of fun because of that old cliche that if you don't have a costume, grab a sheet, put holes in it, and be a ghost. So here, my doll grabbed an old receiving blanket and cut it up to make her costume. So here you can see how I used that yellow fabric and I just traced the hole. I cut around the outside while the yellow was on it. And then I actually put my pins through the holes in the yellow fabric to mark where my slits will be, where my sort of shoulder slits will be out to the sides, and even the pin at the top is where the face will go. Moving on to step 11. You're going to weave your elastic through the bottom holes of the costume. Pin or tie the ends together loosely because you're going to adjust this again later. I used a 20-inch piece of elastic. Step 12. Thread the ribbon through the slits around the neckline. My ribbon was 35 inches long. So you can see the picture on the left is how it will look from the front. And then you can see the picture on the right, how it will look above the shoulder. And then above the other shoulder will be where you tie your bow. Now you can see between the ribbon that I have extra slits cut. That's an accident. And that's why I told you to measure before you cut. I somehow ended up putting 7 slits across the front and then it didn't work. So I had to go back and cut new slits. Luckily, it doesn't look that bad and you can't even really notice it, but I wasn't going to start over, didn't even have enough fabric to start over, so heed that warning. Measure twice, cut once. And the lighting's quite a bit different because this is the next day after the previous pictures. Okay, moving on. We're almost done. Step 13. Don't let this picture fool you. The costume isn't done yet. So don't get freaked out. Put the costume on the doll by pulling it up over her body. Draw up the ribbon and adjust the neckline until you like it. Tie the bow neatly. if you're making the ghost dress, you're done because you don't have to worry about the bottom. So here she is, it's done. However, it came out longer than I thought it would, and I really liked the leggings she was wearing under it. So while she was still wearing it, I decided to go ahead and just kind of cut a curvy line around the bottom because I wanted to reveal a little more of her pants. And it's still a little long to me, but I didn't want the eyes to look too low. So let me know what you think of this. Would you have kept it straight? Would you have shortened it and kept it straight? Or do you like what I did with this? I think it came out all right. I have mixed feelings, I guess, but moving along. Now that we've got the ghost costume done, let's get back to the pumpkin costume. Step 14 is to tighten up the elastic at the bottom until it's pretty snug around the legs. Then tie the ends together and clip them short. I cut about 5 inches off. So remember, we started with 20 inches of elastic, and then in this step I cut about 5 more inches off. At this point you want to tuck it under, just like you would tuck under the bottom of a sweatshirt. And then this is optional, but you can add stuffing. So I was out in my studio when I did this and I didn't have any tissue paper. So I literally used some tissues. About 10 tissues, I think, are in her dress right now. You can use paper towel, tissue paper, actual tissues, doesn't really matter. Or you can just arrange it and let it be a little more loose and flowy, like you saw it when I was trying it on to get the face placement. But I did stuff this just a little bit, and I love Claudie. Side note. Okay, here are the girls together, and overall, I'm pretty happy with how these came out. I thought it was a fun idea to do something simple, and I think this would be a fun tutorial that you could actually do with a child, and that would be a really fun activity to do to get your child's dolls and your dolls ready for Halloween. I did make one more costume this year. I thought I'd just show you here. This is Henry, and he's dressed as Toad from Super Mario Brothers. So you may not be familiar with Toad, or maybe you are. I grew up playing Super Mario Brothers on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. My kids also love the game. So I'm not really big into video games, but we have Mario Brothers in common. So we've played a lot of Mario Brothers together. And one of my kids has been pretty much obsessed with Mario and that game pretty much his entire life. So one year, my entire family dressed up as characters from Super Mario Brothers for Halloween. And I made all the costumes. And 2 of my boys were Mario and Luigi. 1 was Yoshi. The littlest one was Toad. This was his hat. My husband was Bowser, and I was Princess Peach since I'm the only girl. So I thought it would be fun to make my doll a Toad costume, and he's wearing my son's hat. And I think it came out really cute. He's just wearing another crocheted hat under it to make it fit a little better. It's obviously still too big, but I think it's cute, and it brings back a lot of fond memories for me. So I had a lot of fun with this. So here's the 3 I made this year. While I'm showing you these dolls, I thought now would be as good a time as any to introduce you to these dolls because I've never shown them on my channel before. So as I said, this is Henry. He's a Truly Me 75, and Haley is a Truly Me 64. And when I bought these dolls, I always knew I was going to make them twins. And Henry was the obvious choice for Toad this Halloween, so that's why I decided Haley had to be in this video as well. I actually unboxed them together over the summer. I have it on video, but I never created a YouTube video out of it. So if you want to see that unboxing, see my initial reaction to their meet outfits and their features and all that, let me know and I will gladly make it into a video. But I know these dolls are no longer available, so I'm not sure how much interest there is in seeing that unboxing. So definitely let me know. And I am loving her leggings hanging out a little bit more in this picture. I have to do one more picture of Miss Claudie because speaking of choosing dolls for this video, the entire time I made this costume, I was only envisioning it on her. I just knew that it had to go on her. I am constantly reaching for this doll. There's just something about this doll. She is absolutely beautiful, and I knew she would look great in this, and she certainly did not disappoint. I have one more picture for you here. Here the trio is joined by two other girls wearing AG costumes. The one on the left, Jenny, is wearing one of the cheerleading uniforms. And I had to get one of the uniforms because I was a cheerleader in high school and in college. And I don't really follow any professional sports. But my husband is from Massachusetts, so the Patriots are his team. So that's why I chose that one. Unfortunately, I forgot to grab her pom-poms. I had them sitting out next to her and forgot to grab them. But oh well, she still looks adorable. And Trixie on the right is wearing her bat costume once again. I have not been able to bring myself to put this on another doll since I got it. So maybe next year, but I am convinced that this costume was made for this doll, and I absolutely love it on her. That's it for this video. Happy Halloween from My Dolls and Me. I hope you're enjoying this fun time of year with your dolls. And I realize this video was very last minute, but I hope it will inspire you. If not this year, maybe in one of the coming years. Hopefully you'll give this a try. I hope you're enjoying your dolls each and every day. I'll be back soon. Until then, friends, take care.